Hello. I'm coming a little early today because I feel a little sleepy. I feel a little tired, so I'm not going to be up late tonight. So I want to go ahead and get this podcast out the way. So let me let a little time come through. Okay, welcome. This is Erica Clark Wise, the Renaissance, coming to you live from Mexico, where I finally got out of the United States, where they were treating me very poorly due to shadow government and the lack of intervention on the federal government level pertaining to a slavery game committed by Aryan Nation against indigenous brilliant minds and gays and lesbians. So we can't let that escape our thoughts. We can't let that be some fading thought, some fading theory, some undocumented truth. It has to be documented. And so today we're going to talk about the daily science of thriving through such events in our lives. I've been thriving through this chaos, and so that's the name. Hi, Diana. How are you doing? And so that's the daily science of thriving through chaos is what we're dealing with today. My name is Erica Clark Wise, the Renaissance. I'm happy to be here, happy to be alive outside of the United States. It's a shame that American citizens have to escape America for some type of sovereignty and peace, especially when they're not criminal. And that's what I've faced. So I'm coming to you live today about the daily science of thriving through chaos. So family, tonight we open the pages of our chaos not as victims of it, but as scientists of survival, engineers of clarity, and artists of glamour in a world that often seeks to dim our glow. The subject before us is the daily science of thriving strategy through the chaos chapters of our life. Chaos is not an accident. Chaos is a curriculum. It's the hidden textbook written in the fire, testing whether our vision is our own or borrowed from someone else. Someone else's projection, perhaps. Because let me be clear, when someone else's vision blurs our own, the soul begins to stumble. We see this reflected in the life of Marilyn Monroe, a woman often remembered as a myth of beauty, but behind that myth was Norma Jean, a soul torn between her own brilliance and the fantasies projected upon her by Hollywood and men who wanted to own her light. Her tragedy was not beauty itself, but the blurred ownership of her vision. The lesson for us, clarity is power, and glamour without ownership becomes a trap. So tonight I want to offer 3 steps women can take to glamorize their life without losing themselves. Curate the stage of your day. Dress, eat, speak as though your life is sacred. And make sure when you perform for life, it's not for outside applause, but to perform for your own sacred understanding. Every small act is theater. And theater builds presence. So we control the lens. Number 2, make sure you control the lens. Do not allow others to frame your narrative. Whether on social media, at work, or in love, speak your name with authority before others label you. People will do things to distract you, hurt your body, hurt your mind, hurt everything that you have to distract you, to control your lens, so you take your eyes off what is most important. Welcome. Elevate the ordinary. Glamour is not sequins and champagne, y'all. It is the ritual of making herbal tea with dignity, or turning a walk down a busy sidewalk into a runway of resilience. But clarity reminds us to require more of ourselves. To see clearly what we have to build, we must borrow from people like Justice Thurgood Marshall, who once said, "None of us got where we are solely by pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps." His name itself is significant. Thurgood echoes thorough good. Thorough good. And what does thorough mean? The deep, unshakable good. In numerology, the vibration of his name resonates with the number of 11. One of my favorite numbers. It resonates with me all the time. My birthday, 11/29, 11/11. The master number of vision and justice is what 11 is, and that's how Thurgood Marshall's name resonates as an 11 numerology number. It reminds us that clear vision is collective, not individual. When the cosmic map above us spins with eclipses and retrogrades and shifts orbits of planets, it is calling us to ask, what is the thorough good we are here to anchor? And yet, curious minds, we live in a world of usurping entities, energies, institutions, even people that feel entitled to our essence. They sip from our spirit as though we owe them our breath. How do we fight back? Here are 6 steps to fight back against the energy vampires that seek to take us over. Name the thief. Name the thieves. Call them out on social media. I do it all the time. Energy stealers thrive in silence, so we have to call them out. Reclaim our rhythm. Reset your daily cycles of rest, meditation, and nourishment. That's why I had to come to Mexico, to get away from the people who try to usurp my energy like I owe them one. Build boundaries as fortresses. The wall is spiritual, it's not just physical, folks. They think they can attack us with neural weaponry because it's physical, but spiritually, they're no competition for us. Invert the gaze. Stop watching them, and when they watch you, just make sure you always win. Channel your rage into creation. Every wound is a clay in our hands that we can make into pottery of gold. Seal your practice daily with spiritual rituals. Lock the door to your essence. Everybody can't come in. And so that is up to you to make sure you lock the door to your essence and only let people in who deserve to be there. And so this is why the danger of giving up spiritual practice is not just laziness, it is surrender without ritual. We leave our spirit open to colonization, and we must remember the seed of Kṛṣṇa enters only the soil that is tended daily. If we abandon the tending, the weeds will grow where divinity should be blossoming. And yet, how do we rest in war? Wartime is hard to rest. When body pains are inflicted by enemies, rest itself becomes an act of resistance. We heal in fragments. That's what I'm learning as I meditate more here, is that through breath, through silence, through the smallest ritual of pleasure, war does not mean we abandon softness. It means softness becomes our secret weapon. Look at Nepal's uprising that just occurred, a reminder that even mountains rise against oppression. From that, we learn the mind too must rise. Self-hypnosis is one tool we can use, speaking to our own subconscious against things like neural weaponry that try to speak to our subconscious to program us. Let us speak to our own subconscious that we are not the victim, but we are the vision. We are not the chaos, we are the cosmos. And in this trance of our own, we manifest not to escape, but to become transcendentalist engineers. And let me pause here with a text that has carried so many of us through oppression. Remember in the third quarter, I told you all that we'll be reading Think and Grow Rich, The Diary of Anne Frank, and The Red Record by Ida B. Wells Barnett. And from The Diary of Anne Frank, we have a few important dates that I want you to research when you read the book. Look up her entry for June 12, 1942. It was the first entry, and it reminds us that even in hiding, as Anne Frank was hiding from the Nazis, she wrote herself into eternity. So people might try to quiet you and silence your movement, but you still have the power of the pen. July 8th, 1942, from the Diary of Anne Frank. When her family goes into hiding, a lesson in adaptability under terror is one. Right now, I don't know where my family is. I cannot find them, and no one is helping me to find them. Even my own family who I've been able to reach have been lackluster in their approach to trying to make sure my elderly parents are okay. So in the terror of that, with your family somewhat hiding from you, you adapt to your situation. I said, I can't keep looking for them and they're not looking for me, or whatever the problem is. Have they been killed? I don't know. But I knew that I had to do something different to make sure that I adapted to the situation I'm in. October 9th, 1942, Anne Frank wrote her reflection on Jews being taken away, the mirror of today's neural weaponry violence. She was seeing the reflection of what it was to be taken away as a Jewish person in her time period of 1942. And I compare it to today's mirror of neural weaponry violence. April 5th, 1944, Anne declared, I want to go on living even after my death. And this is the vision that we can all have beyond our circumstances. Just like she wrote on April 5th, 1944, her declaration, and it came to fruition by her book being read by millions upon millions of people. And so Anne's good faith and good people, even amidst horror, teaches us radical trust in survival. Anne teaches us that diaries are not just notebooks, they are survival codes. And so, curious minds, I close with a reminder from the Qur'an. Indeed, Allah will change the condition of a people Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. This is our cosmic homework, to thrive through chaos, glamorize our existence, defend our essence, rest in resistance, write our own chapters, and never surrender the seed of divinity. So I came up with a formula here for thriving capacity, how to create thriving capacity. And thriving capacity is C plus V plus P minus U over R plus S. That's the formula. And so where each variable represents a scientific psychological principle, C equals clarity. Cognitive psychology is clear in cognitive psychology that clear goals and visions reduce anxiety and improve decision making. Someone's pulling on my left frontal lobe right now through the neural weaponry while I speak. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't stop. V, vision ownership, self-determination theory, autonomy over one's path. Vision is the V. C plus V plus P in parentheses minus U. that increases your motivation. When you own your vision, that increases your motivation. Ownership is motivation. P equals practice. In neuroscience, we learned that rituals and habits strengthen neural pathways, creating resilience. So practice is the creation of resistance because it also creates resilience. And resilience allows you to resist anything that's not of you and of your self-mastery. And so U is for usurping forces. That's toxic environments, intrusive people, energy thieves that load our cognition with theories that are not doing anything but draining our attention. That's what they do. When you have environments that are toxic, you have intrusive people, you have energy thieves, all they do is put a cognitive overload on your brain that drains your attention, and eventually it drains your resources. That's why you can't be abundant in toxic environments, because the toxic person will always try to drain you because they don't have the power to create within their own energy bank. And so we have to let go of that through R, which is resistance, and that's the cost of fighting back. It lessens our mental and physical stress load when we fight back with resistance. And so S is for stressors. That's the daily chaos, the uncertainty, the trauma triggers, all create the stressors. So we want to make sure we step up and derive formulas for our lives so that we can be on top of our self-mastery. I've been usurped, I've been taken advantage of all through neuroweaponry and a lackadaisical government that doesn't believe in brilliant indigenous minds having the capacity to build to the level of Bezos. And so they look at me like, ha ha ha. Well, I will show them and we will build again. Thank you for tuning in. This is Erica Clark Wise, the Renaissance, once again on HugoMLKkuh. And the Kuh is for Sacred Cow. And we'll get back to you next week at around the same time. Take care.